Welcome to Explain It Like I'm Five, Fact Boxes and How to Make Them Useful. Hey, I'm Eric, and if you want to make your Business Central UI fancy, if you want to make it look like what Microsoft are building, what apps in general are doing, you have to use a fact box. And let me show you what a fact box is. So we have a common understanding or common reference of what we're talking about. So a fact box is the thing you have on the right on a page. So if you hit the I, it goes away. If there is an I present on a page, that means that that page has fact boxes. Fact boxes can have different sizes. There are kind of two groups of fact boxes. There's details, which are true fact boxes, and then there's the attachment, link, and note, which are system fact boxes. The slight difference is that you don't really have much control over the attachment tab. You have some control over the details tab. The upper place there is prime real estate, and I'm running on a Docker image here. So normally right now it will be the AI summary one that takes the prime real estate position up top. We can discuss whether that is the most important one or not, but that's the way it is right now. And you can see here that on the custom card we have there's some sales to sales history, there's some statistics, there's some dimensions. If we go to a sales order, for instance, see already here we go to the sales order list. We got a fact box with statistical information and details about the customer, and I think that's actually pretty much the same. No, so when we get into the actual sales order, we have another one with the sell to customer sales history, the customer details, and the sales line detailed. So we have a fact box that is actually updated from the line. And that's the first important thing to understand. Normally, a fact box is always kind of linked to what? It's linked to the record of the host. But now I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's actually let's create a fact box. Let's create a fact box. And let's create a fact box on the customer card that shows open sales orders. How about that? So if I go here, I just created a new app before we start the video as usual. And let's just make this as simple as possible. So we'll do without namespaces right now. So we need to add a box, and adding a box is done in the layout. If we were creating a page, we would have an area called fact boxes, but we don't, because now we are in a page extension. So we have to say that we will add something. And where do we add that? Well, we add into the fact boxes pane. So now we say add as the first one here. There is even I'm guilty, that add first fact boxes is a very, very popular position for apps to add the fact box. So if you have multiple fact boxes from different apps on the same page, there's a very high probability that they are all at first, and then the order is kind of random. The AL engine decides which one comes first. Today, maybe tomorrow it's different. But we'll go for add first again here because, hey. So what do we add here? Well, the IntelliSense is kind of cheating. So what I did, by the way, was I hit Control Space. I get IntelliSense. And then it looks like I can add anything in here. So we could add a field, right? We could add a field, something. We'll add name. That looks great. Well, only pods are valid in an area of type FactBoxes. This warning will become an error in future release. A member, so we could go here. This will become an error in future release, but right now it does not work. So even though it does not give an error, it doesn't work. So what we have to do is we have to insert what is known as a part. And what is a part? A part is another page. So before we actually are able to do this, we have to create another page. So the way that Business Central UI works is that this is a page, this is a page, the whole thing is a page, and then you have other pages inside the page. The easiest way to locate this is, for instance, if you open the inspection pane, and then you mouse over and we click somewhere, you can see that now we get the orange box here, and the orange box says that, hey, this is now customer picture page 785, which is a cart part. Where if I go back here and click on something, we can see where we're on the customer cart. Do I click in this area? Now we're in the sales history, sell to FactBox. So you can see that there are multiple pages on the same page. So we'll have to create another page. So we'll do that. We'll create a new page, our FactBox, and the FactBox is a page. So we'll give it a number, called our FactBox. Wow. And the most important part here is that we need to make sure that the page type is a part. Well, a page type is either a cart part or a list part. It cannot be a headline part. That's something else. That's what you use in the on the roll center to get the fancy how many orders since this month and information like that. I think there's a video on that, by the way. But you have two options here. You have a cart part and a list part. And we could see the difference if I go back onto the customer cart. We can see that this is actually a cart part. This is also a cart part. This is also a cart. This one is a list. So you see the difference. We want to create a list because let's show, we wanted to show sales orders. So with that, we have to have a sales access to the sales header table. So that it will be our source table. And then we need to show things. So I'll do create in the layout. And when it comes to a list part, the only area that has is content. If we did this as a normal list page, right, we'll get fact boxes, but we cannot have fact boxes inside a fact box. So when you're on a list part, the only area you have is content. We add that. In the content, we add a repeater. And in the repeater, we add some fields. Let me use the most excellent add multiple fields function from Andre's AZAL DevTools. So I want the number, I think, and I want the order date, and maybe I want amount. Let's see how that goes. We got number, and let's ignore the tooltips right now. So we got number, we got order date, we got amount. So that's a list page by itself. So we know that sales header contains all types of documents. So we might want to do a source table view equal where what? Where document type equal constant of order. So what we're saying is that we'll only show sales orders in this list. We'll not show quotes in credit memos and invoices and so on. So we tell that no matter what, this page have to have only have sales orders. So we have a fact box, our fact box, and now we can go back to the first page, and we can say whenever you add something in the layout, there's kind of two parts to it. There's a name and what it is. So we can call this sales orders semicolon, and now we can select our fact box. And let's build this. The package is created. Okay, so and actually I think right now this extends customer list, so we need to extend customer card instead. So I've hit F5 to publish this. And nothing happened. Why is that? That is because we are on a page extension and I forgot to give this an application area where it should appear. So right now it was to never appear. So let's hit F5, publish this again. Now we have our fact box. So there's a couple of problems here. Problem number one is that if I go to sales orders, 1, 2, 3 sales orders for this customer, but clearly it shows all of them right now. So let's fix that. The way we fix that is actually not in the fact box, because we told that we'll only see sales orders here, and it did that. We did not show us quote or invoices, stuff like that, but it did not select only for the customer. So what we can do here on the part, so the part is sitting on the host page, right? Here we can do a sub page link. So now we're going to link the main page and the fact box together. And what we can do here is that we can do sell to customer number. And yeah, it could be sell to, it could be bill to. I'm doing sell to right now. What is that? That is a field, and the field is in the customer table, so that would be the customer number field. So now we have told that the fact box needs to be linked to the customer card by taking the number of the customer you're on and using that as a filter on the sell to customer number. So if we hit F5 again, did I count for? Now I see 4. So let's are you yelling at the screen right now? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there are 4 of them, not 3. Wow, counting skills. So that is pretty good. Still, some things could be improved here, right? It says our fact box. So let's play around with how do we actually label this one. So we could add a caption here saying sales orders. Let's see how that goes. Boom. Now we have sales orders. By the way, you see this one turns into a menu. The weird thing is that fact boxes are always read-only, but they're not, right? So what we can see here is that we're allowed to delete a new and open in Excel. That's a discussion for itself. So do we want to say new sales order. Well, that doesn't really work well, but we might be able to do, perhaps not delete. Let's hit the 5. That goes away again. So the way we handle this is on the fact box. So we might want to say that this fact box is editable false. So let's see how that looks now. Now we cannot do anything, right? That looks great. So, but hang on, we got sidetracked here. We were playing with the caption. So what if we, instead of having the caption on the part, we add a caption to the fact box? Sales orders exclamation point, just so we can see the difference. So that means that we have 2 options of setting the caption. What happens if we set both of them? This is where you place your bets. Do we get it with or without exclamation point? We get it without. So, and I think the way you have to think about this is that the custom card is the hosting entity. So if that decides that we want to override the caption, we override the caption. So be aware that if you have caption both places, this one will override. I kind of like better that the caption is here, because if we're going to use this fact box in multiple places for whatever reason, depending on what it is, we don't have to add a caption in all the different places. We only have the caption here. Okay, so this is a nice fact box, but as a user, I would expect to be able to interact with this fact box, and I can see that I can interact with the amount and see the sales line, and from the sales line I can click show document. That's kind of crossing the stream to get water. I want to click on the number and then I want to go to the order, right? So we need to add some navigation. So that was the number field. So I want to add a trigger to the number field on drill down, meaning that whenever you click on this, I want to go to the sales order. So we will do page start run, and the page we want to run is the sales order page, and we want to pass rec. And be aware that on this page, rec is sales header, where on this page, rec is the customer, right? But we want to pass the sales order here. So let's see how this goes. So now it's a link. Very nice. We go to 1002. We go to the order. That is pretty cool. But let's, because we actually, so 3,432. So if I go to this one, and I changed, because that was clearly not 7, that was 16, perhaps 16. There we go. And I escape out of this order. This one is updated. So sometimes what you have to do is actually oh, that's because we did a run. So let me change this slightly. So now we open the page, and it was independent of the page back, but we can also run modal, meaning that we run and block the customer card. So let's see the difference between run and run modal. So now it's smaller for some reason, because it's modal. We can make it almost look the way it is. Let's change Oh, this was 25,000, so we change it to 24. That's 50,000. Go back. Still updating. Okay. What I wanted to show you is that sometimes you might have to do a core page update just to force the data to update it. If you want to make sure you add it, otherwise it's okay. So we have a pretty nice Factbox now. And what about the menu? So last thing I think we need to talk about is the menu here. So what if I wanted to do, actually not do it, but let's pretend I want. So let's add in an action. What happens if we add an action? So on a Factbox, actually on a part, the only area you can add an action is processing. Ignore prompting here. So if we add an action here, test caption equal test, trigger on action, message, hello. So where does that action go? Let me show you. Well, I think I actually told you already, but none. So nowhere right now. There's no action here. So why is that? That is because we right now again, it's the application area that gets us. So we could go up here and put an application area all, which means that we don't have to have it on these fields, and we don't have to remember to add it down here. So let's see, test, hello. So it's not down here. And the way you can change that is there is a setting called, let me see if I can remember, scope. So you can add a scope to an action, and default is scope page, meaning that the action will just exist up here. But if you set scope to repeater, then the action is both up here and down here. Also, you see that this one changed completely now. The layout was kind of reversed as soon as we got this one in. I would love to have a repeater only setting, but so far no dice on that one. If you want to get more fancy, and I think there is, if there's not a video on this, let me know in the comments below. But what you don't want on Factboxes is for the Factbox to take up time, because whenever we go to something, the Factbox would get calculated. In this case, it's fairly quick because we hit something where there's a key and so on, so we're good. But there is a concept of this is bonus material because now we're outside the ELI5 scope. There's something called a page background task, where you can run a task that will do something, and then it will send an event back saying that now I have the result, and you can then populate the Factbox with the result. I use that in my SharePoint connector app because it has to go to SharePoint and get the data and so on. So we don't want the page to wait for that. So all that happens in the background, and this Factbox is still snappy. Anyway, that's how you create a Factbox, and I think a Factbox adds that this looks professional. This looks like something that Microsoft made, or it's well designed. So, and it's a great way to augment a card with some extra information that people usually go and look for anyway. So yeah, check it out. Try to build your own fact boxes, and when you're done, check out this video. It's a good one. I'll see you there. Take care. Bye.